anything he's doing is helping the situation? Is he an improvement over Stephen Harper? I mean, what talk about his record? Is it?
Excuse me, did I just hear you correctly? How can he be blamed with that?
No.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Don't speak to us that way.
Stop right now. You do not speak to us that way. We are human beings. And the way that you're speaking to us
It's not acceptable.
You are not.
No, stop it. Stop it right now.
We don't want you here. Can you please leave?
Step out.
Step out.
Step out. Then I don't want to hear from you.
You have no right.
You don't speak to us like that.
Very simple question. Can I have an answer?
And this is the problem, the way you communicate.
I'm not insinuating anything. I'm looking for information.
I'm not going to argue with you.
I'm not arguing.
No, stop. Stop. You need to stop. You need to stop.
No.
Stop. You're a guest here, and you don't even know how to speak to us. You don't even recognize the tone in your voice and your delivery. And no, you're done. You're done. Next question.
I'll re-ask Julie's question. How do you think?
You want to re-ask?
Yes. How do you think?
You better be respectful.
I'm being totally respectful. I'm asking how Justin Trudeau's record compared to Stephen Harper's record. Do you think he's improved the situation? I think that's what Julie was asking.
We have a holistic genocide happening here.
Don't speak on behalf of Julie.
Could you just answer the question,
I can
please?
speak for myself. I was asking.
And I can speak for myself. You know what, white people? You've had your voice here for 524 years. 524 years you've been visible, white lady. You've been visible for 524 years. Look how fast your white man comes and steps up for you. Where is everybody else to come and step up for us? I have a right to my voice. I'm still fighting for my voice and my visibility.
We asked the question.
And I'm telling you right now, there has been 524 years of holistic genocide on Turtle Island.
Better than what you have.
I like what I have.
I understand that. But your people live in the Stone Age. We live at the beginning of a great industrial revolution.
He doesn't understand why...
Chief, the United States government is offering you a piece of land of your own.
We have our own land.
No, it's not yours. It's the U.S. government's.
Did they buy it?
No.
Did they trade for it?
It's not like that.
Then how can they own it? He has a point.
If you accept our offer, you won't have to hunt buffalo anymore or roam the prairie. You can depend on your country to take care of you.
You are not my country.
We will give you everything you need if you will just submit to living on a reservation.
We need nothing from you. Mr. Durant, if we could just...
I'm done, Reverend.
America can stand back right now and watch as my own people attack some of our traditional people for believing in our own Lakota way of life.
The media often portrays us as like these sad, like poverty-stricken people.
You know, there isn't that focus on who we are today.
We live on the poorest county in America. It's poverty-stricken, but just because we live in poverty don't mean we're poor.
Do you feel American?
Nah, I've always been taught we were Indian. We were Lakota first before we were anything else, before we were Christian, before we were American.
Few hours from here. I want to find out what it's like to live here, but also how younger people can envisage their future and how they feel about modern day America as a Native American.
around here, it's kind of hard because all the drugs and alcohol.
So it's a very hard place to grow up in a lot of ways.
The majority of people that are working on the res, you either work at the tribe office or IHS.
Not much to do around here. And when you do find something to do, you usually have to travel 20 miles or so longer.
There's a lot of suicides and that kind of stuff.
People lose hope and they feel maybe oppressed.
We've all fallen as teenagers around here, and we've all experimented with alcohol and things.
It's really sad to have alcohol here.
One thing about these kids here is they're survivors and they're fighters, and a lot of them are wanting change. They want something different, they want something better than our adults are leaving them.
We actually don't believe in the word Native American because Native American, it also has the word American in it.
They took everything from us. America's built on stolen lands. America is a stolen country.
We used to live with everything, and now we're on these little reservations and we're all clumped together, and we shouldn't be like that.
16th and 17th centuries, and millions of indigenous people died from famine and disease. The desire to profit from the natural resources available required exploitation of a new large and unpaid labor force. Extending the mass enslavement of Africans in Central and South America, Africans were brought to the United States in 1619 as a new source of labor. New England colonies were founded on ideals of liberty and freedom, but nonetheless embraced kidnapping, human bondage, and violent subjugation of black people, whose forced labor, trafficking, and enslavement fueled booming commerce like shipbuilding, manufacturing, insurance, and banking. Northern cities like New York City experienced massive commercial growth as their economies, like those based on Wall Street, were financed by the slave trade, and their streets, like Broadway, were built by enslaved people. Boston Harbor, the site of the Boston Tea Party, where protests for freedom sparked the American Revolution, was also a bustling commercial hub for human trafficking. Ships entering and leaving the port of Boston trafficked at least 27,000 kidnapped Africans. The trafficking and enslavement of kidnapped Africans funded the economy of every major port city on the eastern seaboard. As the enslavement of black people expanded, American slavery became a permanent generational status tied to race. A new, elaborate set of beliefs was created to codify, control, and subordinate black people. States and municipalities passed laws formally rejecting the presence of free black people in their borders. Punitive laws were enacted targeting black people both free and enslaved. The false idea that black people were inferior to white people, not fully human or evolved, dominated all areas of American life. This narrative allowed the United States Constitution to extol liberty and justice for all while denying millions of black people basic human rights. By the end of the 18th century, America was no longer a society with enslaved people. It had become a slave society. A shifting economic landscape and a growing outcry about the horrors of the Middle Passage finally led Congress to formally abolish the transatlantic slave trade in 1808. However, slavery remained critical to an agrarian economy, especially in the developing South. The domestic slave trade emerged while trafficking of kidnapped Africans continued illegally for years. The transatlantic slave trade left a lasting mark on American life, and the narratives that emerged to support the trade set up central problems of racial hierarchy that continue to shape America.
Not gone anywhere, right? So the old school idea of slavery, let's talk about slavery. A government would get slaves, make them work for free, and build things. That's slavery. So they've stopped doing that now. So what do now? They get people, make them build things for money, but the government print all the money. So if a government can create as much as they want of something from thin air, and you'll give up your life for this thing they can create from thin air as much as they want, you are still their slave. That's it. You used to be a slave and you'd work all day, and at the end you got food in the house. Now you work all day, you get money, and you spend all your money on food and a house. Like, slavery is still here, my friend.